Welcome into Sports Talk at the Stadium on this Saturday night from Commonwealth Stadium at the University of Kentucky, where the Wildcats beat the Gamecocks 17-10, a most disappointing defeat for South Carolina. The Gamecocks had hopes of coming in and snapping a two-game losing streak to the Wildcats and getting out of the month of September, a very difficult month with three SEC road games with a record of 3-1. But the Gamecocks just could not muster enough offense. They could not come up with enough solid defense to do it tonight against the Wildcats, who have not played good football this season. But tonight against South Carolina, they turned to a formula that has worked for them in this three-game winning streak, and that is to run, run, run. And it took them a little while to get to that. It was in the second half when the Wildcats decided to go strictly to the run. And in fact, their final 21 plays of the game were running plays, and only one of those was a called pass play that turned into a running play. So the past 2 years when Kentucky has beaten South Carolina, first it was JoJo Kemp here in Lexington 2 years ago, the same play over and over again, and he ran for a lot of yards. Last year in Columbia, Stanley Boom Williams went over 100 yards and led the victory. And tonight it was Williams again, who had 123 rushing yards, averaged over 8 yards per carry. And it was really nothing fancy, just a lot of running up between the tackles. And the Gamecock defense just could not penetrate Kentucky's offensive line consistently. And then when they needed to make tackles to stop drives, they were poor in doing that as well. The Gamecocks led this game 7-3 at halftime. Kentucky came out in the second half and scored to go up 10-7. The Gamecocks did kick a field goal to tie it up at 10, and then Kentucky scored a late touchdown to go up 17-10. USC did have a final shot to tie the game in the fourth quarter. They got down to the Kentucky 28-yard line and had first down there, and they had timeouts in their pockets too. But Brandon McElwain was sacked twice in the final series there, and that nullified the Gamecocks' last opportunity to at least force overtime here in Lexington. Now, the Gamecocks hurt themselves on the special teams. They roughed a punter that led to a field goal for Kentucky early in the game. And the Gamecocks had a punt return for a touchdown, but it was called back for blocking in the back, and it was clearly blocking in the back. There was no question about that. The Gamecocks also had a pass interception that could have led to a touchdown, or at the very least a field goal, but that was wiped out by a questionable pass interference call on the Gamecocks. Jamarcus King had that interception taken away. So the defense deserves, of course, its share of the blame tonight. The special teams deserves its share of the blame. And let's don't leave out the offense. Kentucky, they did not come in here like the Chicago Bears of Super Bowl fame. They were giving up 44 points per game in their first three games, and they hold the Gamecocks to one touchdown and 10 points. They were giving up a lot of rushing yards coming into tonight's game. The Gamecocks managed to rush for 91 yards. Brandon McElwain went the whole way at quarterback. He had some good moments. He had some good throws. But, he ended up being about a 50% passer, and he could not get much going himself in the run game. They didn't call many direct runs for him. Most of his rushing attempts came from scrambles, and he wasn't able to run away from the pressure and couldn't make much happen there. At various times, A.J. Turner and David Williams had a couple of nice runs here or there, but then again, the Gamecocks just could not get anything going consistently behind an offensive line that, for the most part, struggled tonight. A couple of standout players. Hayden Hurst had 7 catches for South Carolina tonight. He was a bright spot offensively. And Darius English had 3 sacks. The Gamecocks had 4 sacks on the night, and Darius English had 3 of them. So it's a tough defeat for South Carolina. They always expect to beat Kentucky, and now they've lost 3 in a row to the Wildcats. So they go home for an extended period. First up is Texas A&M. The Gamecocks are 2-2 overall and 1-2 in the SEC, and they'll think about what could have been had they been able to play better and take care of business here tonight in Lexington. But they're nothing more Nothing less than a 500 team right now after the first month of the season. You can hear what Will Muschamp and some of the players had to say after the game right here on the website, sportstalksc.com. We'll have Muschamp's Sunday night conference call for you here on the website as well. That'll be a little bit after 7 o'clock. And, of course, on Monday night, we'll talk all about it with you once again on Sports Talk beginning at 6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us here, Sports Talk at the Stadium from Kentucky's Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington, Kentucky.